folks, welcome back to another Palm Master video, and I thought I'd do this, video today because I am on the precipice of getting all my lodge units to friendship level 100, ends the last one I have over here, and he's at 99 right now. It's almost impossible for me, like, just for, on, like, one interaction to not get it to 100, right? So we should be getting him, up there, and trust me, this is not a video where I'm just here to brag about my friendship level thing. It's more so, I thought, after finishing off all these characters, right, and stuff, I thought I'd just do a video going over some of the things that I thought, that I've learned during this process, maybe some things that I didn't do as well, right? I think I, could point them out, maybe, hopefully, could be helpful for some folks if you guys are, again, still trying to, level up your characters in terms of the friendship levels, which you should, by the way. I mean, these like friendship level 100 characters, like a lot of these, like, free. I mean, they're free if you have, like, the units for it, but like half of these units are, like, completely free units, and then just a bunch of, like, old spotlights and a few old Pokefairs. But I've been playing the game long enough, you should have at least one or two of these older Pokefairs, right? So yeah, a lot of these are really good, right? I mean, like, for example, this N, right? N Sigilith is really nice. Has the hypnosis, has some pretty solid, it's like DPS and nuke. So I mean, a lot of them are definitely really nice units to have. So make sure you get them. There's like maybe like one or two that's kind of like whatever. I mean, like the Lily and Marnie, but outside of, like, some of those, but they're still, like, fine. There's some uses for them, right? All really nice. Plus, again, if you do have the units, they're free, so it's a good idea to get these. Also, you get trainer lodge stones and other rewards. Like, it's just, I don't think I need convincing for people to, if you clicked on this video, you probably want to get these rewards, right? So before we get into, like, any of, like, the big sort of stuff that we're gonna talk about, tip number 0, maximize your expeditions. That's like the basic foundation of everything. You gotta maximize your or at least to the best of your ability, your expedition teams here, right? We've already done a video on the expedition stuff, so I'm probably not going to go over it again over here. Just make sure, again, you just have your, as much as you can. Obviously, it depends on your boxes and stuff, right? But as much as you can, just try to get the most out of your expeditions. I'll probably, like, link the video somewhere in the description if you want. But yeah, that's the basic foundation of everything, because a lot of the stuff that we are going to talk about today is about items and managing resources, because that's, like, a big part of the interaction rather than the interaction itself. There's some few things about the interaction itself, but items is a big part. So again, maximize your expeditions, please. So the first thing we're going to talk about over here is the presence, right? So again, assuming y'all got number 0 done, right, to a decent extent, and you got some, stuff saved up, and you're ready to, like, actually get into the interactions, right? Let's first, again, just talk about presence. So presence, I feel like, was a thing that I noticed, like, later on, in terms of how to use them the best, right? Because earlier on, I was just using up, bronze presents. We throw them at probably like 90%, boom, give them some bronze presents. They refresh the options. You get attention span back, all that stuff, which is cool and all. But later on, I did realize that once I did start getting more resources, I've just been going, like, full silver. Right? Again, if you've done expedition long enough, if you do have everything maximized, again, to the best of your abilities, unless you just don't have, like, decent enough units for, like, good expedition teams, I feel like most people should be able to have enough to save up for a full silver presents, like, every single day, every single interaction, 1 silver present. That should be enough, right? As long as you're not, like, a complete new player and you have, like, nothing going on your expedition teams. If you have some decent expedition teams, you should be able to go for full silver every day at least. This, again, gives you 20 attention back, and then you get the big thing, I feel like, is the multiplier for the friendship, because it's 30% multiplier is a pretty big deal. So yeah, as long as you can, I feel like the very like least you could do once you have expedition maximized is get and use silver presents. However, if you do have a few better teams in terms of your expeditions, and I think a huge bonus over here is the event expeditions that we get every, I mean, so far it's been every seasonal event, right? Like for example, we have one up right now. We had one up during the fall seasonal event. There's like this, like, you know, extra Halloween stage where we get, yeah, the special team. So we have team A, team B, and obviously there's a special team as well. Also, these special teams have their own specific boosts for each of these. I don't remember which one this boost, but anyways, yeah. So with the extra seasonal special expedition teams that come around, again, probably every seasonal, you could get enough extra resources from these to sustain you to the point where at the end of my interactions, like for I feel like the last 3 or 4 characters that I was interacting with, I just went full gold presents every single day. Full gold presents, right? Because you do get enough. And when you look at it, you're like, oh my god, gold presents, that's pretty costly, isn't it? And you're wondering, well, damn, is it really worth it? Because of the fact that gold presents do cost you one of those like diamond things, whatever these are called, right? I just call them that. They're like, there's literally nothing indicates that they're like diamond order. Just like the ones with the green, you know, the theoretically hardest ones to get, because you can't reliably farm them. They only come out of chests, right? Which is why you should go full chest at least, right? But when you actually look at them, it doesn't cost that much, right? So a full day, 6 attempts, which by the way, obviously you need to get your extra attempts in first, right? But a full day, 6 attempts, that's only 6 of these. It's only 6 of these, which is not that much, I want to say. 6 of these each is not that much. Obviously, you also have to use them for like the extra attempts. So like every day you're using 9 of 2 colors, and then assuming you're focusing on one character, that's what, 15 of one color. Which again, if you do have your rare caches maxed out every single day on your expedition, it's really like even on a bad day, I'd probably get again, it varies, depends, you know, sometimes I could get unlucky and stall on like one color and not evenly distributed, but generally even on like a bad day I could get what, 45 of these each day, which obviously is enough to cover the presents. And for these gold presents, actually surprisingly, yeah, like the only time I was ever close, ever since, you know, just using again 6 golden presents per day, like any time I was like, the only time I was close to bottleneck was actually like on the golden things, right? Like these, which clearly I'm not over here. But last one I think I was doing was it Rosa? Oh no. When I was doing Serena, it was like the yellow ones, and I was kind of close to hitting like 0 there, but I never really did. And if you are in that kind of situation in your expedition team, just whichever character you're doing it for, you can just double up on the color, right? Again, if you do have good enough teams, you should be able to get like double 10s, right? Like for example, I was doubling up on or 10-9, somewhere close to that. I was doubling up on yellows for against Serena when I was getting a bit low on that. So whichever character you're doing it for, you just double up on them, right? On that color. So yeah, I do feel like the gold presents are worth it. And if you're wondering, okay, but didn't you say before that, you know, you should probably be saving these for the level cap things? And well, yes, I did say that before, which is why I was wrong. Right? Yeah, you know, I'm wrong, right? So here's the thing about saving these up for these friend keys. Again, assuming you do have your expedition teams maxed out. Again, I just keep on have to saying, like, assuming you have your expedition teams maxed out. But again, that's why I said before, like, that's like the number 0 thing you have to do. That's the foundation of everything, right? You will have, like, every day, unless you get, like, super unlucky or whatever, right? You should have incoming every single day, more than enough for 30 each. And here's the other thing, right? And if you're thinking, well, come on, 30 each only gets you like 1 friend key, one of these like golden friend keys. What about, you know, more? Well, you don't really have to go for more. Maybe you could do 2 per day. Maybe you could do 2 per day, which is 60 of each. With 60 of each, to be fair, that is a bit harder to get per day, right? That's definitely a bit harder to get per day. But it's also doable. I think once I've gotten like 80 something, low 80s per day, right? So and again, with the extra, and here's where the extra seasonal, you know, event expedition teams really do help in giving you a big boost, right? So you could have some extra reserve currency, or resources coming into these, and again, like, you just really don't need more than 2 of these to exchange per day, because let's face it, 2 of these is 20 levels. And with the amount of attempts that you're throwing, like 6 attempts per day, are you confident you could get 20 levels every single day on these units, right? I mean, sometimes you can. I mean, I think the luckiest I've done was with a recent interaction with N, where I went in with, 6 attempts and then got him down to like 0 attention, and I used, 6 golden presents, and that was what? From 42 to 64. That's like the best attempt I've ever had, and that is like probably never ever happening again. And that was only like 22 levels, right? So the most you really have to do on these per day is like 2 of these, right? You really do not need more than 2. So like the value of getting these versus, again, the presence to speed things up, right? And also after like you're done like level 100ing all these characters, I guess you could still use golden presents, but it's like not as big of a deal. So like you should maybe go silver present, and obviously you're just not, A, you're saving on these if you really do need to save on these, and B, you're also not hitting more than, there's like almost no chance you're hitting more than 20 levels per day on these guys, right? So yeah, that's why I do feel like I've changed my mind on these presents, and I do think golden presents are the way to go, right? Just because, again, the ratio between how many you need per day, how much they cost, how much you have incoming, assuming rule number 0, right? It's just a good investment, and again, golden presents just get you much faster. So here's the kicker now, right? So once you have these the presents, right? When do you want to use them? And I would say this really is just a personal preference. This is not backed up by any data or whatever, but I just use them at like around 80. I use them around 80, just because like going down to 70% is kind of risky, right? Even though, if you want to maximize the golden presents, you want to go down to 70, right? So you could get 30 attention back. That's basically 1 or 2 extra interactions. So yeah, but I don't know, just a personal preference. I feel safe at 80. Going down is a bit risky, 70%. But I guess mathematically, 70% still means they'll stay longer than they will leave. So I don't know, but I do them at 80. I do them at 80. Like maybe, and especially if there's like no good like options at the time, right? No good choices to pick. And if I'm at like even something like 85 or whatever, right? And there's no good options to pick on the board, I just use that at 85. Refreshes your options too. Hopefully give you some better options there. And maybe if I'm at 80 and then like the options come out and there's like a really good option that is the hot topic for the main character and it's their like highest tier level, I might risk that going down 5 more to like 75 or something, right? But Generally, I use them at 80. Depending on the circumstances, I could use it a bit earlier, I could use presence a bit later. Obviously, later is risky, but, you know, sometimes you could maybe go for it, I guess. But again, this is more of a personal preference thing, not a... This part's not really set in stone. Just a suggestion. You could take it, you could not, right? And yeah, that was the first part, right? And I feel like probably like the biggest part, right? That's why it was a bit long, but you know, it's the presence I feel like was probably one of my like bigger revelations later on, right? So anyways, moving on to the second part, right? In terms of items, right? Like these items, again, once you get rule number 0 done, right? You should be able to spam all 4 of these like constantly, right? Like, I mean, if you look at like the amount of like bronze I have, like bronze I usually have them capped. They're almost like always capped straight up, and then like the silver ones also pretty much capped. So like you really don't have to worry about like these items. Again, once you do have the expedition brewing, you're good on these. All of them are good to use, right? This tells you which the hot topic is. This one obviously guarantees max vibes on pick. This one is really nice for the lesser attention drop. Field ring is the one I'm kind of iffy on. I still use it just because I can, right? I could afford it, but the field ring does have some pros and cons. Yes, it does get the hot topic to jump out a lot more, which is nice because you do want to get the hot topic early in. I'd say within the first 3 turns. We'll talk about hot topic more in the next segment, but there's also the slight downside of, you know, sometimes it's just like if your character's like hot topic is one of their like main hot topics, right? Because for some characters, like, or not even some characters, every character has like 1 or sometimes 2 topics that they just have more stronger selections than others, right? So sometimes field rings could like at the beginning of their interaction, boom, like draws 3 of the hot topics of your character like immediately into you, and like all 3 of them are like high level ones, and then like that kind of sucks because you just wasted like 3 high level interaction topics in like 1 turn, which slightly sucks. I guess it's not as bad if you got like hot topic that's like not that good for your character, and then like you just got like a bunch of crappy ones. Oh, but also that's actually not that great either, because then you have a turn with like stuff with 2 or 3 crappy like topics, like for example, I think N, right? N is really bad on items. He only has 1 that's gold, right? Like the best for him. It's Castelia cones, and like everything else sucks. So like sometimes a field ring will just draw in a turn of like a bunch of options that just all like suck, right? And sometimes, yeah. So field ring does have like some drawbacks to it, but again, generally you should be able to use them all. Yeah, field ring is here and there, right? Here and there. So again, I'd say you should still use it, right? I mean, hot topics overall are good, because you'd rather I'd say you'd rather waste hot topics than just have them not appear at all during the interaction, right? So I'd say probably still use them, right? Yeah, because again, they also only have like half the attention decrease, all that stuff, so there's that to it. So moving on to number 3, which is we're going to talk about hot topics over here. So hot topics is pretty important. So for example, this time our hot topic over here with N is Pokemon. And the thing about hot topics is, first of all, certain characters do have better do have better hot topics than others. N's, like for example, N doesn't have too many good ones. N kind of just has 1, right? And like a few bad ones. Like for example, N, his best hot topic to get is, well, it depends, right? Probably places for N, right? He could get up to. Sorry, my thing just keeps on, like, my HDMI cable is dying, keeps on cutting in and cutting out. So, anyways, so yeah, for example, N's like relatively. N's just not the best example of this. Let's maybe another character. For example, I think Elisa, if I remember correctly, right? Elisa, for example, has like two, I guess, best-ish hot topics. Like, for example, like for Elisa, Friends is probably her best one, right? Where she has four different friends. That gives her like the max thing. Under certain circumstances, Places could also be nice for her too. She could have like maybe up to 5, I believe, or something like that. And then for Elisa, like a bad one would be Pokemon, right? Pokemon, she only has one. That's gold. You know, that's the best for her, which is I think Pokemon Battles, and then everything else kind of sucks for her, right? So first of all, do realize that each character does have good hot topics and bad hot topic, which again, especially is, I won't say important, but it does make a difference, right? If you're using the feel ring. But yeah, as for the hot topics, I'd say you have to use them I'd say you have to use them before turn 3, because I feel like every single interaction you do want to at least get into the hot topics, right? Because you know, hot topics it's double points, plus it's like 2 free interactions that at least guarantees that during those 2 interactions you won't get kicked out. All right, after there's a chance, but you know. So yeah, try to get them in before your first 3 turns, because first 3 turns are free, right? I mean, the character you're interacting with doesn't escape like they're a Pokemon getting caught or whatever. But you know, they don't run away in the first 3 turns, so you do want to get it in before those 3 turns expire. And turn 3 is technically the best turn to use it, just because by turn 3, because every single turn you get like +1 extra friendship point, right? And since they double it up, turn 3 just doubles a bit more, right? So technically turn 3 is the best turn to get your max vibes in with hot topics, right? I meant that max vibes. Hold on, by the way. So yeah, there's that, but you don't have to hunt for it. Again, just make sure you get max vibes, hit max vibes before turn 3, right? Really don't wait for it. But here is where the reset part does come in. Previously, I'd say you can reset first 3 turns just to get the best out of that. And here's the thing about trainer lodge and interactions. Is that still the best way to maximize your interactions? What I said back then? Yes, but also no one has time for that. It takes forever, right? So just to, I think, make things easier, just at least reset until when you hit max vibes. The 2 options that you could pick in max vibes are at least 2 options that gives you the maximum value back, right? Just pick 2 of like the best ones when you are in max vibes. And if you don't get it, just like, just reset until you get like 2 really good topics during max vibes. Like for example, over here we're gonna go into max vibes with this legendary Pokemon pick. I think this is turn 2, right? Yeah, turn 2 is fine. And we got Dreams here. That's a top one for N, right? I believe, and I think Words Spoken by Pokemon is also another top one for him. But if I didn't get one of these over here, right? If you didn't get a top one over here, you could just really just reset this thing and get back in. It'll refund you the interactions, all that stuff, and just make sure you just get like at least 2 of these in, right? At least 2 of these in, and then you could probably continue with the rest of your interaction. Everything else is left to RNG, right? Afterwards. So yeah. I guess one other thing in terms of resetting, you could reset for a better hot topic depending on the trainer, right? Again, like I said before, like for example, Lisa has better hot topics with was it Friends, and like not a good hot topic if it's Pokemon. Like you could do that, but again, it might take too much time, which I know people generally don't have the time for over here, right? Okay, so here is the next point, which I done over here, which I was supposed to like not do, but my like tech got screwed up, so I forgot to do it. Like I literally even I clicked everything. I just didn't click confirm at the end. which is when you are getting your character close to max level, bump up its level cap so this doesn't happen. I literally did everything. I gave him the level caps. I even clicked the button. I just didn't click the last confirm thing, and the phone whatever. Anyways, whatever. So yeah, don't do what I just did here. Although thankfully it wasn't like a great, you know. Actually, it was a decent run, but it kind of sucks. But anyways, whatever. Yeah, just when they're close to level 100, use a level cap item on them so you don't, you know, waste the points you get, or else they get capped. Basically, yeah. Anyways, so all right. Last point I'm gonna make over here is in terms of stacking attempts. Should you do stacking attempts? Should you not do stacked attempts? Right, this button, right? Use all interaction. First of all, if you are gonna use it, make sure you have like enough like gifts. I do have a lot of like silver ones, but again, I personally prefer using gold ones. But that was from like before I started using gold ones. I bought like a lot of silver ones, but anyways, it's all right. But all right, should you use all interactions at once? I would say yeah. Does using all interactions give you the best results in terms of if you're trying to get, you know, just make sure you could maximize your daily interactions? Probably not. Doing them one by one is probably safer still, but theoretically, and I know sometimes this doesn't track, but theoretically, in a perfect world, right? If you look at the numbers, the chance of the opponent leaving is at like something like 70% interaction, 80% interaction, is still lower than them not leaving. I know. We've all had, I've had this multiple times. I think it happened with Sycamore a lot, right? Where I just use up all my interactions at once, and then boom, this guy leaves at like 90%. Which sucks, it happens. But theoretically, when you're at 90%, it generally means it's a 90% that this guy, you know, stays, and only a 10% that they leave. So theoretically, the odds are in your favor. So could you use stacked attempts? Yeah, as long as you have the items, right? Just make sure you have, again, 6 gifts going in, or presents going in, and then, you know, 6 of each items. And stack attempts, they just make it faster, because, again, no one got, I would say most people in this world do not have the time to do them one by one. Even if it is safer, it just takes too much time, right? It just takes way too much time, especially if you're trying to maximize out, you know, each attempt, right? Resetting all, it just takes way too much time. So anyways, yeah, that's me this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoy. Guys, think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the video for channel, some more Palm content, all that stuff. And good luck getting your folks up there. I do have mine done for the moment being. Obviously, we're gonna get a new one next month, and we'll probably have to grind for that one, but at least now I could get some past, you know, level 100 and just grinding like lodge stones now, because that's, you know, that's the only thing you really got going for afterwards, which you should still go for. I mean, you know, that's for the level 150 level cap, right? Oh, so yeah, it's worth grinding. But anyways, all right, have fun, folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.